Okay, it is crazy to me how we're actually not going to sit here and talk about how Dune Part 2 doesn't deserve to win Best Picture. In my opinion, if it were up to me, I would be saying Dune Part 2 deserves to win Best Picture. I would be picking it to win Best Picture. Because you have to understand something about Dune Part 2, right? Not even talking about Dune Part 1, just specifically about Dune Part 2. Literally, when that movie came out last year, at the beginning of the year, March 1st, 2024, everybody and their mom, dad, uncles, aunties, cousins, whoever you are, everybody literally was saying Dune Part 2 is the definitive best movie of the year, and we haven't even got into the full cream of the crop for the movies that came out later on during 2024. We're not even talking about Anora, The Substance, The Brutalist, Wicked. We're not even talking about any of the movies that are in the Best Picture category, the other nominees, right? Everybody, when that movie came out, everybody and their mom was saying Dune Part 2 is the best movie of the year. I still say Dune Part 2 is the best movie of 2024. I think it's the best movie in the entire slate of the Best Picture nominees. Because you have to understand something about it, right? Dune Part 2, every character, every role, every minute played an integral part into what that movie was. There is no, and I'm not even saying this to like this is not even biasly. This is unbiasedly, right? There is no part in that movie that's a dull part, that feels like it's running on too long, that feels like the dialogue is boring and it's just a filler scene, that feels like this movie may be rushed, this movie is horrible, the production of it, every part in that movie is cinema. It's absolute cinema. From the editing, the production design, the sound, the visual effects, the costume design, hair and makeup, the performances, the acting in that movie, everything about the score in that movie, the soundtrack in that movie, everything about that movie literally screams best picture, best picture, best picture, in my opinion. Timothée Chalamet, Paul Atreides, one of, like, hands down, one of the best performances of last year. I'm surprised that he didn't get nominated for that role instead of Bob Dylan for A Complete Unknown. But that's just besides the point. We're talking about Dune Part 2 right now. Florence Pugh, right? She played the princess in that movie. Hands down, one of the best, like, supporting actresses performances of last year. Then, arguably, is between her and Zendaya's character, Chani, who gave, in my opinion, one of the best, like, I know I just said about Florence Pugh, but literally Zendaya, outside of her challenger's role, Zendaya gave one of the best performances of her career. Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Zendaya playing Shani, literally in Dune Part 1, but specifically Dune Part 2, gave one of the best performances of her career, if not the best performance of her career. Then you have other actors like Christopher Walken, Dave Bautista, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, literally Austin Butler, Fade Rafa Harkonnen. Do you have Stellan Skarsgård in there? Like, this movie is crazy. It's crazy to me how we're not sitting here talking about Dune Part 2 not being a literally a legit, like, contender to win Best Picture. Everybody's talking about, oh, Wicked could possibly win. Oh, A Complete Unknown could possibly win. The Brutalist could win. Honora could win. The Substance could win. Freaking Amelia Perez could win. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, literally, what about the movie that, like, made, like, all this money at the box office, and literally everybody was saying that this is the movie of the year? What about that movie over there? Literally redefined sci-fi movies. It's crazy to me. Academy, if it were up to me, Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2. That sounds a little biased because I've been saying that, Dune Part 2 is my favorite movie of the year, and I think it's one of the best movies ever made. And it's crazy to me that that movie does not have more awards than it should have. But if you were asking me who I would be picking to win Best Picture, Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2. It's just as simple as that. Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 deserves to win. Dune Part 2 is the best movie of last year. You are not going to convince me and sit here that it's not. It's just, it deserves to win. It deserves to win. And then on top of that, the action, the fight sequences, especially the last scene where it was Paul Atreides versus Fade Rafa Harkonnen. That, like, there was so much story that got told in that fight between those two. It's crazy. It's legit crazy. Dune Part 2 deserves to win Best Picture, and I don't care who disagrees with me or agrees with me. Dune Part 2 deserves to win.